decided it would be a good idea to make an Infinifactory Let's Play this time. Only recently have I gotten around to setting up for it though, since I was busy doing a lot of practice with other things. A lot of projects currently on the hot plates, and I only have so many hot plates, figuratively speaking. This I already made a solution for. Technical difficulties caused the original recording to be corrupted for reasons I'm not going to bother explaining. Currently, we can only complete some of these puzzles on the most basic specifications. Later we can optimize them with the things we unlock later. Right now I only have conveyor belts unlocked here. Can get some more things down here. Some things that are going to allow us to really... it's difficult to explain, so I'll show you later when we get to it. But just rest assured that it's going to be a lot of fun. Here's one of them. I can show you what those are for right now, actually. Hold on, let me just configure everything the way I prefer. One really nice feature is you can place this block here in its normal configuration and then switch it to the other one if you really wanted to, using a key that I can't remember. Hold on. We can rebind that right now. This one. There, so you don't need the second one on the hotbar, so that saves a lot of room, especially when you have a lot of blocks that do this. This is the welder, by the way. Just a normal block. Very interesting how Minecraft popularized the idea of block building games, which I think is actually pretty great. So, this first level is simple. It's almost insultingly simple to me. Just attach the two blocks in the configuration specified, and then send it to the output. However, I'm not going to stop there. There's an optimization we can perform. Instead of using so many conveyor blocks which count to the block score, we can use these platform blocks which don't, which will increase our efficiency greatly. And we can do it with all of these up to this point here. And now, actually, hold on, there's another thing we can do to enhance this. This takes a footprint, but however, if we go vertical from here, it won't. Try to use as little horizontal floor space as possible, and the result will be very satisfactory. There is more we can do with this to make it even more efficient if we wanted to. For instance, actually, I'll show that after this because we've already done a lot. Oh, and I'm also going to enhance the speed. Look at that, already better. And now see, the cycle score is much better than usual. The footprint score is almost, you see there's a very small sliver there of less than, I think that's, I think 35 or close to 35. And the block score is so low that it's unrealistic. Hold on, I think there's one thing that will improve our block score greatly by eliminating, I think, this one here. And we can do that by moving all of this complication downstream to here. And at this point, the footprint has been ruined. We're taking up a lot more room now than we were before, so this is not going to be the footprint optimized version. This is going to be optimized for block score. And now you see, using 7 blocks, which I'm pretty sure is the bare minimum. At this point, it's a bad idea to focus on blocks anymore. And so this time we're going to be thinking about footprint score. And because of this, we don't care about block score anymore, so we can move back to a design that's less optimized for block efficiency and more optimized for footprint efficiency. So we can just... what we can do here is we can stack these two vertically on top of each other to optimize the footprint, and then only at the end effect will we actually put them together like this. And then finally, this is going to be complicated. I don't like how that's taking up that space there. However, I think that's unavoidable at this point. So I want to keep these as consolidated as possible, horizontally but not vertically. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be either the best score possible or close to. Yes, now see, it's in the very small sliver here. The one that almost no one gets to. Just by using very simple tricks. That I'm sure... Oh, and also look, the cycle score is, I think, either at the best possible or very close to. I think this is as optimized as we can be bothered with this level. We got, I think, either the best or almost the best of all of these. Look at these slivers here of really bad cycle scores. That means that at least a very large portion of people did it this way, thinking perhaps hundreds or thousands. Since this peak here is actually, I think, at maximum millions of people. It depends on the player base size. Oh yes, now we can do these three if we really wanted to, but we actually want to go back and optimize this one because it's very unoptimized. I'm going to first get rid of all of these redundant conveyor belts because they're irritating to me. Offensive to my senses. And I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be the best possible, but it's going to be close enough for my standards. Or is it, actually? Hold on. I'm just going to optimize this quickly, because this is going to irritate me if I don't. There. And I'm pretty sure that cuts down on a significant portion of the blocks. And so now look, we're only using 4 blocks, 4 conveyor belts in total. And I'm pretty sure this will work fine. Let's look at that. Our block score is a total of 4, which, as you can tell by the lack of even a sliver here, is even better than almost... Actually, what percent is that? I think that's less than a fraction of a single percent of all of these. You see, Infinifactory is not a game about getting the job done. It's about doing it in a way that's so unrealistically good that you shouldn't actually be expected to be able to do it that way. Now we can optimize for footprint and cycle. First, I can speed this much greater. Well, the way I said that sounded much more awkward than I was intending. And now you see, the cycle score was better before because we had conveyor belts. So I'm actually going to put those back where they belong. And this should be better than the first time, even, because of the way we optimized this. And actually, there. Taking the shortest path possible. Cycle score is now 44, which I'm pretty sure is either the best. I realized I was just about to say the same thing as I did before in the same way, but the footprint is also better now. However, there are multiple ways, I should say, of decreasing the footprint. For instance, just like before the vertical stacking methods, we can employ collision detected. This is troubling. We can sacrifice a few blocks. Actually, looking at this, it would be a shorter path if we were to overlap these instead. That would also fix that other problem we were having. And so now the footprint should be even better. Trying to think of any other ways we can optimize this further. But we'll see in the statistics. Yes, now it's 43, 44, and 4. I think the very best we can hope for, reasonably, on the first level. I can see this Let's Play dragging on for an eternity if I do it right. I hope it doesn't come to that. We'll be trapped in the Phantom Zone forever. Now, the third level in the chain. Notice how I haven't actually been paying attention to the story at all. Partially because I don't want to spoil it, and secondarily because it's irrelevant to our purposes. Oh, look. This one was going to be child's play. In fact, hold on. Trying to think of exactly the perfect way to do this. The problem I'm seeing is if we maximize it, this happens. And of course, the problem with this is the footprint score. Oh, not that. Hold on. Oh, never mind. Guess what I'm going to do. Yes. Vertical integration. And this is not going to be the fastest possible, as you can see right here. In fact, it's not even going to be one of the islands of probability. However, the footprint score is as good as it's ever going to be. And the block score is as good as it's ever going to be. Now I can finally worry about cycles. So, the way I would resolve the cycle problem logically is by doing this. Look at that. And now we're back into one of the islands of probability, but also notice we can go even faster if we wanted to. And doing that's pretty complicated actually. I'm not sure immediately how to make this even better, although I know I should be able to. Trying to think of exactly... Oh, and I'm just now noticing, guess what part of this Let's Play is going to be all about? Deep critical thinking. I think I have an idea. Yes. This is so much more advanced than it needs to be. Actually, this needs to be elevated because of how things are going to be connected. It It shouldn't be one block above its resting point. I think that might be too far. Or perhaps not far enough. So this is 3, 6, 9, 12. And so yes. You're going to build a mechanism for flow control, like this. And it's already partially complete. I know what I need to do right here. Yes, look at this. The machine is functioning. This is horrible, but also extremely efficient. Now I just need a way of controlling all of this monstrosity I have created. I already know one step I can take. Yes. This will do half of the work, and then the other half can happen down here. And this is all about throughput. Maximum throughput. Minor problem. Notice how this is actually offset by 1. That's a problem. Fortunately, I'm pretty sure I can fix it. If I just have this be instantiated 1 block above where it is. There. Now it's functioning correctly. Final one here. There. I have a feeling this will be exactly what we need. Look at that. And this is all without the more advanced equipment we unlock later. Hey, look at that. Imagine how much better we could do with things like pistons and sensors and wires. Spoilers. And also look at the footprint and block scores, they're horrible now. We won't worry about this until we unlock more later. I would like to go through these in order. This one was quite perplexing much earlier to me. I know exactly how to maximize the footprint. Part of this is just a timing problem. This is perfect timing. The footprint score is not as good as it could be, and neither is the block or cycle score. So, actually, get rid of all of this. This is trash. Complete and utter garbage. have another idea. The timing is only partially incorrect now. Actually, we should do all of the optimizations separately, I'm pretty sure. It would be unreasonable not to, I feel. So, first we're going to correct the timing here. And then, this is not going to be for footprint, this is going to be for speed cycles. There, this should work. Look at that. And so now the block score is actually much worse. The footprint is much worse, but the cycle is almost as good as it can be. Trying not to exit the playable area. But this can be improved greatly. I think cycles is a bad thing to optimize for earlier on before unlocking more. Because look at this, we only have 3 blocks to work with. These 2 are just variants of the same thing. Don't pay any attention to that. If I just turn down the speed, footprint optimization should be very simple. Okay, so this configuration. The problem we had before was this was off to the side. Technically one way to do it, but now it's having the same problem as before. I don't think we can fully optimize it without later technology. Or at least for footprint. Oh, but that was a good configuration for this block score. I'm pretty sure I can speed it up by a few cycles. There. Now it's perfectly synchronized. And it's also going to take forever. And so now notice the block score is as good as it can get. Next. Now this one, the last of the first set. Which is actually slightly more complicated than it looks. Most of this is also just timing. And at this point, I can bring in the welders. As long as you have good timing, you don't need control. By that I mean control systems. Needs to be delayed more. Just look at that. Perfect timing. It's the least stable way of doing something. and any change will destroy the system, but it doesn't require any logic in order to function. I know of many ways to fix this block score. The footprint score is not going to get very much better, and the cycle score is horrible. I feel like I should just come back for that later. Oh yes, and now some story. Promotion. Very impressed with our optimization skills. I'm just going to put that there. I'm going to take a small break. And back to work, actually. Just going to dispose of this somewhere where it can't get in the way. If I can even have the coordination to do that much. Good enough. Now, back to the efficiency. Where's this area? This is when we get these parts. Logic. Logic is critically important. In fact, logic is something I specialize in. For this, I usually just do this as the fast way of doing things. There. And maximizing the speed. I should probably actually double the bandwidth so I can carry twice as much at a time. And now it's just bussing. Look at that. Yeah, that's a good cycle score. But it could get better. But not by much. I don't think it's worth bothering with that right now. And now we can do footprint or block. I think both of them at the same time would be almost ideal. This one special case. There. Look at that. Maximum efficiency. And so now the footprint is as good as it's ever going to get, and the block score is the same. And so we can continue without being bothered too much by the small gaps in inefficiency. Also, now that we have these blocks, we can go back and fix other problems we were having. But not until later, I feel. Notice how quickly we're progressing through the beginning portion. I did not progress this quickly to begin with. Nice, now look, we need to split the load evenly between these three. And I know of many ways of doing that. The most obvious method is to just do this. Hold on, let me just finish setting this up for demonstration. Hold on. There, signal propagation. Always keep that in account. Or, I'm not sure if I said that correctly. Take it into account. Technically, it's impossible to complete the level this way because those ceilings are going to be blocking the flow from above, and so there's no way to get anything in there without going in from the side horizontally, and this demonstrates that. So this is technically a solution. A really bad solution. Because it's optimized for almost nothing but block score. In fact, even that I can reduce further. Is this enough? It might as well be enough. I think there's one more thing I can do to improve it though that I can try later. Might not be bothered though. At some point you need to cut the obsession short, because otherwise it will consume you. Yes, block score is now unrealistically good, as I would expect. And now we can optimize for speed, perhaps. A great portion of the speed that is lost is in waiting for this propagation to happen. This should be much better. There's two types of speed. There's latency and there is a frequency. And so you can have large amounts of things coming at a time far in the future, or you can have a small amount of things coming right now. Very analogous to investment versus enjoying in the now, for lack of a better term. Now we can worry about footprint, which I actually know exactly how to resolve. First, let's just get rid of all of this garbage clogging our way, and install this very clean and efficient system. Actually, we don't need to optimize for block score anymore, so this is redundant. And that's actually incorrect. We need to raise this by 1. And in this location we are to install these. And we can put this under here to increase footprint score. There. Oh, hold on. And fix this also. There, this should be perfect. This is a minor problem. The solution for this may... Oh, hold on. I was just being very short-sighted. Or nearsighted. Oh, that's not good though. Might want to reduce the throughput only slightly. Or fully, actually. Something like that. There. This is footprint. And here we see it's very good now. In fact, all of these statistics look very good. And so we can finally rest after a long day of optimization, is what I would say if I wasn't going to continue optimizing forever. And so here is another smaller problem, which actually isn't as difficult as it may look. This one just requires that you take one input and stamp multiple different types of parts. This is incorrect. these two dies that you send the materials into, and they're immediately fused into the correct shape. And this is actually the most straightforward way of doing it, but also not very efficient, very unoptimized. The footprint score could be a lot better, and so could the cycle and block score. In fact, we can fix most of the cycle score by just increasing the input speed, and also fixing this problem. Also notice that the input is technically at half speed right now. We could fix that also. Cycle is much better, but see there's a sliver there that we can get to somehow. And how, you may ask? By doing something like this, of course. Since the blocks that are falling keep the blocks that are coming out of this from coming out, we need a way of keeping that from happening too frequently, but it's still going to happen at some point, and so we need to be cautious of that. And there. Now notice that another bandwidth problem. Hold on. 5 at a time, that's not a round number. I really hate non-round prime numbers. They're just irritating. They ruin everything. I prefer not only round numbers. Wait, round numbers? I mean even numbers. Not only do I prefer even numbers, I prefer the powers of 2, since they can be halved or doubled until they reach either 1 or infinity. And it's hard to explain why that's so good. This is not maximum efficiency. This is closer, but also not maximum efficiency. Oh, I know what we could probably do. Hold on. Is this a good idea or a horrible idea? Splicing. Well, either way it seems to help some. But it could also be better. Oh wait, hold on. I know of a way to fix most of our problems. First I'm just going to get rid of all of this needless complication. And now... already looking very good. Second. This is the wrong angle. Never mind. Instead, we're going to want to do something more like this. There. It's already much better. The parts are going to be made at maximum speed at the beginning and then ported to where they need to go, which is actually very inefficient for a footprint, but very efficient for both block score and also speed, cycle score. And I'm going to keep these on different levels until we don't until they can't anymore. Hold on. that. And this way you can produce complex machines such as this. And so you can use this as something like a timer for a logic machine. But that's besides the current point. And actually these two blocks are now redundant. In fact, most of these are redundant. There. Technically these are also redundant at intervals of 1. Oh. There. Because notice, one conveyor belt will always be touching it. And that's what's important in this case. See, the cycle score is now slightly better than before. I think this is as good as we can expect reasonably. Or unreasonably, I should say. This level is beginning to tire me, and so I'm going to stop optimizing it for right now and come back to it later. Yes, this level. Going to need to make the same part and split it evenly between these two outputs. I think it's preferable to have one part maker and then one splitter after it, instead of one splitter and then 2 part makers. Of course, the difficulty now is getting these to the other side of this. Or actually, hold on. I have an idea. Getting closer. Just need to get the timing perfect. Yes. It's all about timing now. Oh, that's bad. Thing that I overlooked. In that case, this is going to be slightly more complicated. Another option is to just route these to this area down here, where since we have more vertical space we can align these better. And oh yes, I see now. Also do this. Very hard to describe what I'm thinking about right now. And the second one is routed to the other side here. And to this assembly here. Like this. The problem then becomes, this is all too compact to fit the actual welders, which is resolved by doing this. There. And now we can actually make the splitter. Which actually shouldn't be that difficult. be done like this. Actually, not like that, like this. Here. And also get rid of these because they're irritating me. There. And evenly split the load just after the part assembler. This is obviously not optimized at all. It's just there to work. And now notice that the levels are actually becoming somewhat challenging. The footprint score is actually better than usual, somehow. The block score is slightly better than usual, and the cycle score is exactly what you would expect. We can change that one right now. Oh, I'm surprised this works at all. And that immediately made the cycle score almost as good as possible. That was an easy optimization. This level I feel like I'm done with right now. And I also feel like that's going to be a common thread for these upcoming levels. I'm not going to finish this segment until I do this level though. I guess this one, the one that was one of the first that were very perplexing. So, what I tended to prefer doing in this one is hard to explain. First, it should deploy these 3 blocks, and then it should route this block in after them onto an elevated platform. Like this, perhaps. Yes, like that. This should work. Yes, that does the first module, which can then be routed this way. And welded on to here. Like this. Trying to get the angle correct. And then, after that, it can just leave. I think I know exactly what's happening here. So, the way I see of resolving this is by or yes, perhaps. This is a slightly harder problem. I can bring this in from higher and then have this push it out when it senses that it's actually complete. And then at this point, I would need to move everything out by 1 in order to make room for this modification. And now, at this point, we can install the welders, one here, and then another one here to attach everything together. And now it should work. Somewhat complicated, but it functions. Some of it's timing and some of it's control. Look at that cycle score though. I can optimize it even more. Oh, look at this. It is time scalable if I adjust the optimization of that timing there. And now look at that cycle score. The maximum is just a bad idea. Don't do that. And now... I don't think this is a good idea, actually. This is the best I can hope for with this, I'm sure. We can come back for the footprint and blocks later, but that cycle optimization is unrealistically good. Time for more story. Well, if you can call this story. Another promotion. We should be able to get more blocks now. After taking a small break. And by consuming nourishment, I have grown even more efficient. Also, having unlocked this this sort of sandbox area, I can do anything I want in. However, I will not be going there right now. Yes, finally, Stage 3, Act 3, Scene 1. This is where we start learning about the more in-world requirements, such as this. Uncontrollable variables. Actually, more like constants. This is simpler than it looks. Watch this. So first, we can make the one piece, and then we can split off another one evenly, rotate it 180 degrees, and splice it directly on to make a symmetrical object. Not only is it rotationally symmetrical, it's also, I think, chirally symmetrical, technically. Yeah, don't ask me to explain what that means. And at this point, we can just do the splitation. Splitation. Now I'm just making words. Just look at this. Brutally efficient. See if this works or not. It does. So that should be enough now. And balancing the system. And bringing these together. And routing an overhang to this location so that I can not disturb the footprint too badly. And finally, to know which one comes in first. It's that one, so I can bring this out here now. Oh, look at that. A perfectly balanced system. Slightly better than average on all of these now. Cycle score can hardly get very much better. Footprint we can improve partially by fixing this problem, actually. Moving this ahead further would help also. To perhaps a location up here. So one thing we can just do is move all of this up by however much we can. And not even done yet. There. And we can just move this like this, and have it be like this. Yes, very scientific explanation. I don't think we need this extra spacing here, even. Going to put a block here as a handle for grabbing. And I think this is also, hold on. Thankfully the undo button functions exactly as you would expect. Technically it's a key combination, not a button. Think of it as a sort of a figurative button or a hypothetical button, even theoretical. Yeah, now notice how much more compact this is, which the footprint score really likes, and not as much as it could though, which isn't actually surprising. That there are optimizations that can be done here. And I can also just do this in order to improve this infinitely. And that will help with block score. Only minorly though. There. And all of these are optimized to satisfaction. I think that's enough of this for today. I will, well, I'll probably try to record another game also, like perhaps Opus Magnum is a pretty great Zachtronics game. Any of the Zachtronics games really, they're all very good to me. But also very mentally taxing, but that's also a good thing in my opinion.